Hey guys, Chris from ASM. We're in the office working away, but what about the college coaches? Are they in school? Let's find out. We're coming to America! So you join me in my office here in West Palm Beach, Florida. We actually have our whole team working away here in the States, and it's been good to be back with everyone and have a team environment again. But what is going on with the college coaches, schools, universities, athletes? What is it like here? Since I did the last video around the COVID crisis and college sports, you know, when it was all kind of really uncertain, no one knew what was going to happen. We were just going off feedback from speaking to coaches and schools and the associations. Now it's got a bit more certainty. Now we have a bit more of an idea what is happening with college sports, and I can report to you kind of what's happened so far and what the plans are going forward, and from the feedback we're getting from the associations and the universities and the coaches themselves. So far, the good news I want to start off with, the major good news, is that, you know, pretty much every school expects next year in 2021 in August for that recruiting class to have a kind of normal experience, you know, back to kind of how it used to be, is obviously what they're hoping for and aiming for. Now, I think in this world, no one can ever be completely certain, but it is expected with this vaccine coming out. Everyone's expecting to kind of get back to normal by August of 2021. Until then, we're gonna have some differences. Obviously, right now, I'm filming this video in December of 2020, and right now, pretty much every student is working from home. They're doing virtual school. Tournaments are not happening right now for colleges. But the good news is they are expecting, and it's planned from February, the spring season, March, April onwards, to have competitions again. So for golf, tennis, soccer, they're meant to all be back to playing times next year, and tuition in school from next year. There will be regular COVID testing. Most schools are reporting they're going to have 1 to 3 tests a week on campus for their athletes, and prior to traveling with a team, they'll be taking a test, and arriving there'll be a test. Each association and conference has slightly different ways they're going to be doing it, but there is a plan in place, and it's expected for athletes to get back to competition. There have been competitions now going for like American football, basketball. There are some internal competitions with schools right now, but that's the only 2 sports we're seeing right now. But every sport is expected to get back to normal by the spring semester of next year for 2021 to finish this class recruitment year. Now, the scholarship side of things has been kind of a crazy wild place lately. You've seen, obviously, coaches are not allowed to go to events. Normally coaches go to events to watch athletes play. You know, what we typically done in the past is we would recommend an athlete to a coach and they go watch them play if they want to make a big scholarship offer, but they're just not allowed to do that by the associations, the NCAA, the NIA. They've banned all coaches traveling to events, and that's in place until around April 15th of next year. So it's made kind of our job more actually valuable. A lot of coaches now are coming to us, and we're becoming the event planner, really. We're kind of advising them and doing more research for the coaches, working more video, kind of working more on our reputation, on the trust of the athlete, getting to know them better and connecting them. So it's actually made us much more valuable in that process to the coaches, which has been great to see. But everything's gone online. All our recruitment processes, all of the ways we promote athletes to coaches has all been done electronically, virtually, which is changed for us, but we've actually had some of our best ever results, I think, because we were kind of always used to doing all of our recruitment online and knowing our athletes through media. So we haven't really found that a difficult process, but I think for coaches, that's been a really different phase. And I do think from phone calls with coaches and conversations with the teams, you're going to see coaches in the future travel less. They've realized actually we don't have to spend tons of money traveling around the world. We can rely, you know, on agencies like ASM to connect us with the players, and that's something that we're going to see different in the future for sure. At least for the short-term future. Long-term future, I do expect coaches to start traveling again. It is so much nicer to watch an athlete perform in live. You get a better understanding of the athlete, better feel for the athlete. So I do think that will change long-term, but I think for the next year, you're going to still see a heavy reliance on coaches working more with our team individually to promote players and get the data they need from the athlete. So the other thing we're experiencing with coaches right now, and on the scholarship front, is the money side of it. It's becoming a lot drier. It's becoming, you know, if you're late to this process, it's going to become a lot harder to get bigger scholarship money. And here's the reason why. The NCAA, the NIA, what they've done for every athlete that's been in college for the last year and this year, they're getting extensions. So they're able to basically extend their 4 years to 5 years, and they'll get the scholarship money for that. That does mean future recruits coming for 2021, 2022, if you haven't started your process early enough, it's going to get harder to get in. So we're seeing a lot of athletes now having to take a gap year in order to help create this delayment happening. So obviously, if I was going to graduate next year in 2021, I can now graduate in 2022, which means there's that scholarship that would have gone to someone in 2021 won't be available. So coaches not every athlete is taking advantage of that. Some are saying, I've done my school, I'm just going to finish. But especially sports like basketball, American football, where getting more game time in a Division I program is so vital to going professional, they're definitely taking those opportunities. You're seeing it less in the golf, in the tennis, but in team sports, you're seeing it more being taken up on. So that does mean the scholarship money is then not available, which makes it harder for new recruits to get in. But to solve that problem, we're seeing more people then just doing a gap year and then they're coming a bit later. It's been just a problem for every school in the country. And you have seen some schools even cut their programs. Probably one of the most big headline stories is Stanford. They've cut a few of their sport programs to help fund the rest of them. So we saw this same thing happen in the financial crisis in 2008. So when schools cut programs, I must admit, I've seen a lot. I thought there'd be a lot more that would have cut programs than actually have, which is the good news. And I think the worst, hopefully, touch wood, the worst is over. I don't think you'll see more schools doing it. There could be a few more next year, but so far it's not been really that bad, which is a good news. Not many programs have cut things, but I think the reason for that is because the coaches have slashed their budgets and traveling. They save money there, which has allowed them then to keep the funds up for the scholarships and the rest of their departments. So I think it's kind of been a double-edged sword. It's we lost there, but they gained there. So hopefully you won't see too many other programs get cut. It's never a good thing to see, but as things get back to normal, we start seeing the world improve. You'll see schools putting more funds back into sports again. So I do think long term it'll kind of rectify itself. Same thing happened in 2008. And actually what tends to happen is the schools will cut the programs that don't really produce any funds to the school, and they reinvest it in new sports. What we have seen a surge of is esports. We've seen esports increasing, we've seen rugby increasing. So you will see kind of things change, but for the big ones like your basketballs, your footballs, your golf, your soccer, your tennis, that doesn't really get affected too much. It's more your sports like the bowlings, the rifle, the wrestlings. These are the ones that tend to get hurt more, unfortunately. But hopefully, things are on the way upwards. Definitely coaches, the vibe is good. The school associations are good. Everyone's looking forward for 2021. They've got their testing plan in place for the COVID test. So I'm sure all the athletes out there can't wait to get back to competition next year. So I think hopefully, cross fingers, the worst is over. But this coaches are still recruiting. I mean, we're seeing it every day. We're placing more athletes than ever. We've become busier just because everything's gone online. It's gone on the phones. It's gone on Zoom. So, coaches are still having to recruit for future years. They're actually more future planning now, thinking who they taking for 23, 24, 25. So it's been an interesting year, but luckily it's been okay for the scholarship world. Thankfully, it has been dried up in some places a little bit. It's been a bit harder for some programs, but overall it hasn't been that bad. So I'm obviously thankful for that and for our athletes that could have been affected by it, but luckily not. The only thing I think has been a crazy year is just for the athlete themselves for playing. There've been hardly any competitions, even for the athletes who are trying to get recruited for future years. They've had very limited tournaments they can play in. But the good news is the same thing for everyone. No one's kind of at an advantage or disadvantage. Everyone's kind of the same. So that's kind of cool. At least no one's kind of missing out opportunities. And then coaches are being so understanding. They get it. I mean, lots of schools have waived the SATs. So a lot of different things. Now, I'm sure the SATs will be necessary in the future, but right now you can get into programs without an SAT, which is just unreal. So I wish that happened for me, because I didn't do so well on my SAT, but I did enough to pass. But it'd been better if I didn't have to take it. So that's kind of good news for some people. But we're always on top of it. We're always speaking to coaches pretty much on an everyday basis, finding out what's going on. So I felt like this was a time now to give you guys an update, because there's more clarity right now what's actually going to happen. So guys, I hope that helps out. 2021 looks really positive. Tournaments are coming back, coaches are coming back to training, to tournaments, competitions, and they should be traveling in the world, and we're in the US again after April, which is what we're hoping for, it's what's planned. And we'll be at competitions again as well, hopefully meeting a lot of you guys at competitions and showing coaches watch you play, which is what we love to do. So until then, we wish you all a happy Christmas, a happy New Year, wherever you are in the world, and we hope to see you one-on-one at some tournaments in the future. So take care. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you've got a comment, please put a comment in there. We will answer all your questions as well. So take care, and we'll see you soon.